Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review we're going to be looking at the Reactivate game version of Soundwave. So with this video we're going to have a detailed look at him in both of his modes. We're going to have a look at the accessories come with him and how you can display him. We are going to of course do some comparisons with various other Soundwave figures from numerous toy lines, just to give you an idea of his scale and size. And of course we're bringing in Optimus Prime, who is the other figure that comes inside this pack, and as it stands at the moment, unfortunately that is the only way that you can get this figure, by buying this 2-pack. And I've already done the video for Optimus Prime. You can catch that in a separate video if you want to. So unfortunately again, at the time of making this video, we haven't really got any images of Soundwave, unless this is an actual in-game image. That's the only one we've got so far. So you can see he is considerably smaller than Optimus Prime. We can already see as well on the back that this is going to take 15 steps to transform. I will upload a separate tutorial video. And then we've got some lovely, I don't know if it's artwork, I don't know if it's in-game images, we just don't know at the moment, but there is Soundwave. Interestingly enough, he's got yellow eyes in all of the packaging, and he's actually got red eyes in the figure. So there we go. Right, let's have a look at him. And he's not too bad, to be honest. I think at first glance he looks perhaps a little bit out of proportion, you know, a little bit spindly leg maybe. He's obviously got a backpack on, which is quite big, to be honest. But it's not too bad. I mean, it's forgivable for a couple of reasons. One, it's all on the back, so you can't really see it. That keeps reflecting, crazily enough. And two, it doesn't make him top heavy, even though he has got these smaller legs. You know, he's at no point, he's not unstable. He doesn't look like he's going to fall back at all, even with the rock there. So I suppose that's one of the bonuses. Right, no, I haven't really got an issue. I've got two things to say about this. One, it looks great because you can easily identify him as Soundwave. Two, it's a negative because it doesn't open in any way, shape or form. And that is correct. Soundwave comes completely by himself, no minions whatsoever, and clearly no space to even put them in anyway. So I think that's one of the first Soundwave figures, as long as I can remember, forgive me if I'm wrong, released without a minion. I mean, even the little core class Soundwave came with, although it, you know, it was just a cassette, it didn't really transform, but at least it came with something. Whereas this you can't even open. Anyway, it sounds like I'm being super negative, but I'm not really, because I actually do really like this. I mean, look at the head sculpt there. Really good, loads of detail around the mouth, loads of detail on the actual head itself. As I said, I do like the fact that we've got this at the front, which makes him identifiable as Soundwave. The head itself will just about go all the way around. I think we have to, no it won't, it's restricted by them large bits on the side there. We've got his accessories as well, we'll look at in a second, and I'll show you how to put them on, etc. He'll look up and down, no problem whatsoever though. The arms will go out into a T, and they will still go all the way around, and funnily enough they are not restricted by the backpack at all. He has a complete waist swivel, which is not needed for transformation, and it doesn't get restricted either, which is great. The legs will kick all the way up. That is a huge range of motion on your legs, but then backwards not as far, because it does get caught by this back skirt there. So in honesty, I mean, you've got pretty much a split, but the other way around. You definitely have a side split, do you? That's just about, I thought I had it up, no, just about. It's not too far off it. There is a swivel at the hip, there is a knee bend, there's the brilliant ankle tilt and rock again. And once again, you know, even though this is a deluxe class size, there's hardly any gaps. I mean, would you class them as, I mean, there is clearly a teeny little gap, but it's nothing too, I suppose, like an eyesore. It's not too gaping, that's probably the word I'm looking for. Otherwise, you know, not too bad at all. There's some lovely silver detail there. There's some lovely bits of red on the side. I'm just wondering what he would look now with with yellow eyes. I think, I don't know if he'd look any better or not. There's enough detail there in the shins, and there's quite a bit of moulding detail on the entire figure. That is definitely enough for first impressions. I'm sure you'll agree he looks great. We're going to now have a look at him in his alternate mode before coming back, having a look at his accessories, and indeed doing the comparisons and display ideas. Here we are then, he's in his alternate mode. As I've already previously mentioned, if you want to see the transformation process, it is separately uploaded. If you don't want to see it, obviously you don't have to, but it is quite clever, to be honest. It all fits together really well. There is a couple of gaps on the underside, which you can see right there, which, to be honest, they're not detrimental at all. You can't can't even see them unless you are physically turning it upside down. So to be honest, again, it's another, they get away with it, shall we say. Maybe you can say there's a bit of visible feet syndrome, but they're nothing anywhere near as bad as the Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. However, I do think that it looks really good, to be honest. You know, this is a heavy artillery, is that what the word I'm after? You know, armored vehicle. It definitely looks like it's in the middle of a war, and it definitely looks, you know, like this, that they are, you know, in some sort of battle. Same with Optimus. You've got the oversized bumper with the grille on the front damaged. You've got double bumper on there. You've got the blacked out reinforced windows. You've got all these extra, I suppose, armored pieces on it, which make him look, to be fair, really good. Whether he scales or not, I suppose, is all right, because the truck, obviously, for Optimus is always going to be pretty big. For myself, it's always a bit tougher seeing poor old Soundwave as a vehicle. I say tougher, that's not the right word. It's just something that I suppose we've become used to. And to be fair, I think he does look better as a vehicle instead of, you know, the satellite and whatever else he is in the movies. This is a good look for him, shall we say. As I said, all the wheels are on individual pins, so they roll around no problem. There's enough detail on this, to be honest, and you can store and indeed put the weapons on. So what we've got here is this, which goes over his shoulder. You'll see in a second, again, back in robot mode. This has got articulation on it as well. You can see you can lift that up and down, and then if you wanted to, you can pop this on the back as well. That's pretty much exactly as it is on the images there. It doesn't really need that, but the problem is if you don't put it there, there isn't really anywhere for it to go. But that's, you know, that's me just nitpicking. Maybe they could have put a 5mm port either side, who knows, but otherwise it's looking good as far as I say, this goes. With regards to some other figures, there's a deluxe JP Jeep, there's Boss from G1, funnily enough, and of course we've got a masterpiece Trailbreaker here, which is, as we'd expect, a lot bigger. But at the end of the day, I think it looks good. I think it serves its purpose, and it will be great to actually see some in-game footage of this to give us an idea of exactly what it looks like. I think that's it for this mode, though. Let's come back and do the Soundwave comparisons and other display ideas. So then we're back, and for the final time in the robot mode, ready for the comparisons, and let's see how he looks with his accessories. So obviously we're used to seeing this over the top of his shoulder, which is great that it does go over, and of course the fact, as I said, that you can lift it up and down. It's got its own bit of articulation on. This is easily identifiable as a Generation 1 weapon for Soundwave. The only, I suppose, negative is the fact that it is all one piece. I'm not expecting it to fire, obviously, especially not in this day and age, but maybe to detach. Maybe, I think, yeah, pretty much like the other ones did, well, the other uses of this Soundwave's accessories. So I think I didn't point out that there is actually a wrist swivel on this figure as well, which I think is really good for a deluxe class figure. And if we pop this in there, and again, I'm useless at posing figures, but you can tell and you can gauge that it's going to be really easy to put him in some pretty fantastic poses. I suppose there's a couple of teeny little gaps in the forearm there, but nothing really bad, to be fair. I'm really surprised and pleased with this. I said that with the Optimus Prime as well. It looks like they've, you know, done a lot of what's the word? I think a lot of the money's gone into these, to be fair, which is really good. Right, let's have a look at some other Soundwaves then. So if I get this out of the way, so let's have a look at some gamer ones first, or gaming ones. That is the Fall of Cybertron one. This is where you see the difference though between the deluxe and of course a Voyager, well, an old school Voyager class figure, because that is huge. This is more, which one is it? Yeah, this one's probably the more recent one. That is the Legacy one, which is of course one without the battle damage on. So yeah, this is the one from Legacy, and again you've got Voyager class, but nowhere near as big as this guy. And as I say, it is just missing the fact that you can't pop his chest down to release any of the minions. So that's a couple. Let's move these out of the way. Obviously the Netflix one isn't much different, to be honest. Funnily enough, gone back to the red eyes with that one. And of course we've got his Generation 1 version, which funnily enough again is a really big figure. We've got the core class version of him, I think from Kingdom that was, and then just because I've got him right here, I've got the Doctor Wu one there as well. a nice and small one. So he scales really well with all these, to be honest. And again, I suppose he fits, like I said at the beginning, in the size that what we are presuming him to be in the main game. Right, so that's obviously with a core class figure. If I bring in a couple of other core class figures, you've got the general gist of how tall he is. There's another deluxe figure. She's not the biggest, but he is actually taller than her. This is, of course, Bludgeon, which is a Voyager, and again, you can see the size difference. There's quite a big size difference with that, to be honest. If you only collect, I suppose, movie bots and you want an idea of how big he is, only because I did Prime the other day, I've got the mainline Voyager and I've got the Studio Series Voyager. Either way though, great looking figure, really excited to see the game, and indeed some of the rest of the figures that are going to hopefully we'll see be released in this same toy line. Let me know what you think of him in the comments, guys. Take care.